Hello everybody, welcome back. For today, we are going to looking at the container, Elastic Container Service, ECS. And also we're going to looking at the serverless application serverless. Now first of all, let's look at some of the terms. Name, batch. We all know batch is like a batch file, which is between a job towards maybe a application, through the application towards a database. The EC2 autoscale, Elastic Container Registry, the Beanstalk, Elastic Container Services, Kubernetes Services, Fargate, Lambda, Serverless Application. Now let's move on to look at what is Elastic Container Services and also the registry. Now, virtual machine. Now, first of all, the virtual machine, one of the disadvantages of virtual machine is you still need to have a lot of operating systems installed in your virtual machine, which is going to take a lot of capacity because of the runtime. So one of the things which is to move the virtual machine and the stack over is we're going to create a shared operating systems, and through the shared operating systems, let's say like this Docker file, which is going to build to Docker, and then we can build up a file system layer which can save the virtual the operating systems. But how are we going to use a Docker file? We're going to have a Docker images. That Docker file going to be a container images, and that going to do going through container registry, or we call Docker Hub, or Amazon also have the container registry. Azure also have the container registry. GCP also have the container registry. And through that, they can go through a Docker host. Through Docker, we can have, Elastic Container Services. We can have two different modes. One is EC2 mode, another one is Foggy mode. Now, first, let's look at EC2 mode. EC2 mode, which is, you're going to have images, ports. You're going to have, IAM roles like security containers. Yeah. You're also going to have, define how many copies availability when going to start it. So on the EC2 mode, you're going to have scheduling, orchestration. You're going to have clustering manager, placement engines, and then through the Docker or the image registry, with the copy, you can have the Docker container, the container host. You can have multiple availability zone, and through multiple availability zone cluster, you can have auto scalings, and in front of it, you can have load balancings. So through the Elastic container, you can create multiple container services in those availability zones with multiple copy. Yeah, and which is going to save you a lot in terms of operating system, etc., etc. Another one which is called Foggy Mode. What Foggy Mode provide is a shared infrastructure. Those images, they're not going to create it, on the availability zone A and availability zone B. Instead, it's hosted, it's in a Fargate shared infrastructure. And when those availability zone need, let's say A, B, or maybe C, through the interface, elastic interface, those Fargate images can inject into the VPCs. So when you're going to use container elastics, if you're going to have large workload and price conscious, use Elastic Container Services EC2 mode. If you're going to have large workload but overhead conscious, you're not very sensitive on the price, but you want to have large deployment, bigger deployment, Foggy Mode. So bank probably it's a good example to use a Foggy Mode. If you're going to have the burst and a small workload, maybe you can also try the Foggy Mode. If you're going to have the batch or periodic workload, try the Foggy Mode. Next, we are going to looking at the serverless. First of all, the serverless, you're going to have, API gateway, Lambda, SQS, SNS, state machine. We call the state machine, SQS, SMS, whatever, and then DynamoDB, and S3 bucket. But what is each component actually they provide, and what sort of a category, type of service they have? Let's have a look on the API gateway first. API gateway have 4 different type of interface: HTTP, WebSocket, RESTful normal, and private RESTful. Now let's move on the state machines. Now state machine we call AWS function, which is similar to the Azure functions. What it's do is provide a state, the state of each event. So let's look at here. On here, they create multiple state. There's an email, there's SMS, the parallel email, and parallel SMS. So that's a different track of the event. And when the state when the state track scenario happen, you can either go to email, SMS, or maybe a combination of email and SMS. But by the end, you need to have a notification. But when the state machine was, as a serverless happens, the code actually we're going to be generated. So we are going to have less effort to generate code. And this is what we call the serverless. API gateway, you have going to 4 different type of API gateway. Lambda function, you're going to have a state machines functions, state machine functions. You're going to have SQS or MQ, SNS. So this is called serverless.